Hi, this is a video about Mercury retrograde that starts today, August 5th, all the way through to August 28th. And then we have a shadow period up to September the 11th. So Mercury is going retrograde in Virgo. And when it's in Virgo, we are going to see problems with everyday things, such as your household, paperwork, communication, bits and pieces that become disorganized. Your own mind may become disorganized. You may find it a little bit more difficult to focus. Now, when it goes back into Leo, it's leaving its domicile position. So when Mercury is in Virgo, it's at home there because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. And actually, when a planet is in domicile, it functions in a way that is doesn't seem to cause many problems. So this Mercury retrograde in Virgo might be okay until we get to the sign of Leo, and then we might see some problems. So it enters Leo on the 16th of August. And this is when we are going to see some issues with power. Now, perhaps people that are in leadership abilities, such as prime ministers, presidents, or former presidents, and people that have positions of power. It could be your boss or anyone like that, really, that has some type of authority over you. So when it goes back into Leo, we are being asked to work on our self-esteem and sense of honor and pride, because Leo is connected to, leadership abilities, confidence, the ability to stand in the spotlight. Now, where we feel disempowered in our lives is going to be an area that gets a review period. So when Mercury is retrograde, it's not some punishment from the sky, sent to make our lives miserable. It's actually an opportunity that we get to redo something that previously we might have started or attempted or just thought about. Now we're getting this opportunity to bring this into perfection and fruition. So when Mercury retrograde goes into Leo, we are going to see, really get some areas in our lives highlighted where we are disempowered. Now, one thing that I want to mention, like we have a lot of protesting going on and all kinds of drama in the world at the moment. I would expect that to increase when Mercury retrograde goes back into Leo again. But I just wanted to take this opportunity to say something about that, to maybe give a piece of advice about people that are feeling disempowered and like they have a lot of things are happening in their countries or in the world that they have no control over. Money rules the world. Okay, it doesn't rule it entirely, but it rules a large part of it. And when you feel disempowered by something, it is a good idea to stop putting money into any system or any company that is working towards an agenda. So what I mean by that, everyone seems to have an agenda these days. I'm talking about politically. Even supermarkets where I am from are just, there is clearly an agenda being fulfilled there too. So don't put your money into those companies. If everyone stood together and decided that you're not going to put money into these supermarkets or any other organization that is serving an agenda here, we would soon be able to change things, let me tell you, because they do not want to lose money and advertisers don't want to lose money. So we do actually have the power here to do something about it. But being glued to the news or complaining on the internet isn't really achieving anything. Spiritually speaking, yes, there's a lot that you can do. But on a practical level, which is what Virgo is all about, we can do small things that will create a big ripple if we stand together and do it. For example, cash. People complain constantly about um the removal of cash from our economy, and everyone wants to use cards and all of that. If everyone stood together and did that, the digital system and card only system that they're trying to force us into, it would not stand at all. So there are small things that we can do that make a difference. So I always say this, I know I've said this before, but don't put your money into supermarkets. Go directly to the farmer, go to your local fruit and veg store or butcher or whatever it is, and put your money into those people's pockets instead of big companies that that pay the farmers crap money and give us below par products and produce, and are serving an agenda at the same time, and are responsible for the closing down of many different businesses. So we do have the power, but it's not really going to, you don't, when you're out in the street and you're, throwing Molotov cocktails through the library window or whatever, that's not really going to achieve anything. We need to stand together and make decisions collectively that are going to achieve the goal that we want, which is to have more control over what's happening in the world. So I just thought that I would mention that. Now, with the Mercury retrograde in Virgo, some people may get sick because Virgo is a sign that is connected to your health and your well-being and healing and also disease and that kind of thing. So we could see something doing the rounds in terms of health. It is a good time to take a good look at your diet and your lifestyle and review that and see where you can make improvements. Virgo is focused on uh, improving, bringing order to everything that it touches. So this Mercury retrograde in Virgo is a really great opportunity for us to try and perfect ourselves. And instead of complaining about health issues or your weight or anything else, you should make a plan and try and stick to it and do something achievable to improve your well-being. Because when we have healthy bodies, we also have healthy minds as well. So that's something that we could focus on during Virgo. Now, when Mercury gets into Leo again, we could have some power struggles here. I don't just mean with the government, I mean in your own personal lives, because Mercury in Leo likes to be number one. Their opinion likes to be heard the most. So everyone around us is going to be a little bit like that. And of course, that will create power struggles, problems with people that we communicate with on a daily level, such as your employer, your partner, whatever. Now, all of this depends on what aspects Mercury is making to your own actual birth chart. Because I am speaking in a very general sense here. If this Mercury retrograde is making some great aspects to your chart, it's probably not going to affect you that much in a negative way. But if you're having all kinds of oppositions and squares, you will feel that difficulty more than most people. So it's important to take a look at your own chart if you're able to and identify the house that Mercury is traveling through. So this Mercury retrograde is definitely going to affect Donald Trump in some way because it's going to conjunct his ascendant about the 16th of August and 16th, 15th of August. And there's going to be something to do with him. It could be his personal life, or it could be we could know about this from the media. I'm not sure what it is, but some miscommunications or slip-ups or something going on with Donald Trump. Now, the aspects to this Mercury retrograde it squares Mars by sign when it's in Virgo. And that square will be felt throughout the entirety of this Mercury retrograde, even when it goes back into Leo. So a square is a difficult aspect. It causes a bit of drama, a bit of friction, and Mars is the planet of war. It's the planet of aggression, warriors, and also how we assert ourselves. So globally speaking, as we have already seen, there's many different things going on in the world right now. We've got that stuff with the Middle East, and we also have things happening in Bangladesh, and also here on the British Isles, things are flaring up. So I would expect that to continue to some degree over this Mercury retrograde because of this square to Mars. Now, when it comes to your own personal lives, this square can cause a bit of friction, arguments or fighting, or sometimes it really is just a good idea to get your feelings off your chest. And maybe something has been brewing for a while, between you and one of your family members. And this jump starts some kind of argument. And hopefully you can resolve that. Or it could just be some irritation. Irritation, especially when Mercury is in Virgo, because Virgo does not really speak up when you're bothering them. It's more like they try to let things go, and they try to, keep the peace. But ultimately something may explode when Mercury goes back into Leo again. So it's worth talking about. As always, during Mercury retrograde, there are some things that we should do and some things that we shouldn't do. And the things that we should do are open communication, clear communication between people. And by clear, I mean not on the internet, not on Messenger or WhatsApp. Pick up the phone and have a conversation, or go and see that person in person, so that you can clarify things, because online communication is not so great, and things can become misunderstood very easily. So other things that we should do during Mercury retrograde would be to take it as an opportunity, write down some things that you would like to improve upon in your life and start to make that happen. And of course, when Mercury is traveling through a certain part of your chart, it's going to be activated. You're getting an opportunity to create something great in that area. Some things that you shouldn't do during Mercury retrograde: don't get married. Please don't get married during Mercury retrograde, as that marriage is going to have the energy of Mercury retrograde through however long it lasts, which may not be long, because new projects started under a Mercury retrograde, big things like marriages, they tend not to last. Try to avoid starting a new job during Mercury retrograde, but if you do, then just go for it. I don't believe in living in fear during these retrogrades whatsoever. Just keep your eyes open, and try not to sign documents, because that can go wrong, or there can be a misunderstanding. Don't make verbal agreements. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you have big things, try to put them off until after the shadow period. New relationships that start during Mercury retrograde, people ask me about that all the time. Obviously, it's not ideal, but you don't really have any control over when a relationship starts. It's just one of those things. So I personally wouldn't think about it too much. Try not to travel during Mercury retrograde if it's long distance. But I have done over and over again. And yes, you know what? Things go wrong. You lose your luggage, or, sometimes you might miss your flight, but that's just life. And if you're careful, those things will not happen anyway. So don't make big changes over your life, as in, don't have an argument with your boyfriend and then dump him, because you're going to regret it later. Try to think things through. it's okay to think about things and plan about what you're going to do in life, but try to avoid those big decisions until a much later date. On the plus side, this Mercury retrograde chart has Mercury conjunct Venus. And Mercury conjunct Venus is a nice aspect. It's quite positive for your love life and romance in general. Some people may experience romances or partners from the past trying to come back again, or any Venusian people from the past, maybe women. You might have some financial planning to do here as well. But generally speaking, if someone from the past comes back, it's really not a good idea to go there anyway, because if it didn't work, the last time, what's going to be different this time? And try to avoid that. But overall, if we take these Mercury retrograde steps, and if we avoid the pitfalls and keep our eyes open, actually, there can be some great things that come from this because of the conjunction with Venus, who is the lesser benefic. She's not too happy in Virgo, but she's still a benefic. So being cautious, but not too cautious. Virgo is a super cautious sign, but we may throw that caution to the wind when Mercury retrograde goes into Leo and become more impulsive and fiery. And that's good, but remember the square to Mars. So it didn't actually, Mercury did not conjunct any particular fixed stars when it turned retrograde. However, what it did is it will go retrograde, it will pass over a particular star called Regulus. And Regulus is quite a big star. It was revered by the ancient people. Now, when this conjunction happens, this star is said to be connected to violence, royalty, it can be kings, rulers. Now, it is connected with the death of kings and rulers. I just want to say that's what the ancients connected it with. However, in the modern age, it's more unlikely that that would happen. But maybe some issue, thinking Donald Trump here, because it's going over his ascendant. I don't mean he's going to die. I mean that there could be some drama that happens. Now, Regulus is also connected with violence for an honorable cause and destruction. So when Mercury is passing over the star, we could see more violence happening in the world. Everyone thinks that their cause is the honorable one, but there can be some destruction that happens with that. So Mercury will go over Regulus about the 15th of August, 14th, 15th of August. And that's when we may see some of those things happening. So that was the general overview of Mercury retrograde. I'm going to talk about what it means for each sign individually now. I want you to listen to your rising sign or your ascendant. This is the most important part for you to listen to, because your ascendant represents the changes that you will go through in life that cause you to grow. Sometimes we get those changes during Mercury retrograde, whether we want them or not. Also listen to your sun and your moon signs, as they are going to be relevant for you as well. So starting with Virgo, this Mercury retrograde is in your first house of big life changes, your identity, your appearance. Some things may be happening for you at the moment, and you could be questioning your overall life in general. What am I doing? Where am I going? Where am I going to end up? Now is the time for you to come up with a different plan, something different than what you've been working towards. If it's not working for you, you need to try something different. Change and trying different things can be super difficult for Virgos. And sometimes they need to take the reins and really do something that they have not tried before. So this Mercury retrograde is ideal for planning that. Libra, the Mercury retrograde is in your 12th house. So 12th house can be about hidden things. One of those things is enemies or people that you don't know are your enemies that may be secretly working against you. If you're an astrologer, you'll know who those people are. But keep your eyes open about people that don't clap when you win. I would say that. On the plus side, for Librans, the 12th house is deeply spiritual. It's connected to the spirit world and gods and goddesses and deities and entities that don't have a body. They all reside in the 12th house. It is a very good time for you to connect with your, your ancestors in spirit or your gods and your goddesses and do some spiritual work. You may lack energy during this Mercury retrograde, Libra, so do take some more sleep and rest if you are feeling that way. For Scorpio, Mercury retrograde is happening in your 11th house. This is all about your friends and groups of people and um, any organizations that you choose to belong to. So you could have some upsets there. You could have a bit of strife or just maybe some changes or mix-ups that you're not used to. And you could also have some friends or contacts from the past that reappear during Mercury retrograde. Sagittarius, the retrograde is happening in your 10th house. This is about your career, your job, and you could have some problems there, especially when Mercury is still in Virgo, because those two signs make a square. So I don't expect anything catastrophic here. You could just have some problems with work or people that you work with, which will smooth over with probably when Mercury goes back into Leo again. Capricorn people, Mercury retrograde is in your 9th house, and this is all about foreign people, traveling for pleasure. It's also about your beliefs. So your beliefs could be going under a review during this period. It's also about higher education and knowledge. You might be thinking, should I take this course? Should I leave this course? I'm not sure what I'm doing. And it's normal to have those kind of thoughts in your head and indecision during Mercury retrograde, but I would advise you to not make any major decisions until after it's over. Aquarius, Mercury retrograde is happening in your 8th house. This is all skin shedding stuff for you. There's going to be some transformation here by the end of it, and it could involve a partner for you. As Mercury retrograde, when it goes into Leo, it's going to be in your 7th house, or there could be problems with your partner in some other way, such as joint finances, your sex life, or issues of control and power. You want to, pay attention to that. Hopefully it resolves as Mercury retrograde ends. Some other things that could be your own personal power. How do you feel about yourself? Do you feel like a loss of power or you have full control? Your sex life could undergo some changes. And if you're into the occult, be careful about stuff that you're doing in Mercury retrograde, as if things do not go according to plan, but it's a great opportunity for you to transform and to shed some baggage. For Pisces, Mercury is going retrograde in your 7th house of marriage and committed partnerships. And you could have some difficulties here with your spouse. There may be some miscommunications, which are totally normal in a relationship, but we just have to work through. Like I always say, marriage is like the wheel, up and down. You just have to go with it, because all relationships are like this. You can't have one that does not experience ups and downs unless you're married to a robot. So you just have to go with it. So other things that could be enemies that you know about, that you're aware, for example, if you don't get along with your sister-in-law, you could have some argument or conflict with her during this retrograde. Also clients that you have and other 7th house people. So for Aries, Mercury is going retrograde in your 6th house. This is about your health, your daily routines, your daily schedules. And this is a great time for you to work on yourself with any of those things. And when Mercury is going in, going through your sixth house, you could experience some health issues. You might feel temporarily under the weather, which would be quite common for that transit, or there can be some scheduling difficulties there that take a little bit of work to get things running smoothly again. Now, for Taurus, it's in your fifth house. This is your kids, your romances, but most importantly, it's about your creativity. So Taurus is an earthy sign. They're very practical and loyal and consistent. They're great for that. But Taurus needs to express itself, and most importantly, your creativity. The fifth house is also about recreational activities. So stuff that we do that it brings us joy and pleasure, and where we can have a lot of fun. So Taurus people, take some time to experience or re-experience some activities that make you feel joyful. You need to play as well, Taurus, instead of working all the time. For Gemini, the Mercury retrograde is occurring in your fourth house, and this is all about your home and your family life. You could have some minor upsets with family members. You might decide that you might want to move somewhere, or you could even have a few small issues with the home that you currently live in. Now, this is really nothing to worry about, and actually, it's a great opportunity for you to do any kind of ancestral work. Ancestors, what type of ancestral wounds can you see happening over and over again in your life? It's a good time to come to peace with that and perhaps do some spiritual work that is going to improve your lifetime. For Cancer people, Mercury is going retrograde in your third house. This can be your neighbors, your vehicle that you drive around in every day. It can also be your siblings. So you could hear from siblings that you haven't connected with for a while, or you could have some miscommunications with them. With your car, it would be more likely that something goes wrong during this Mercury retrograde period. So it's not really advised for you to buy a new vehicle during the Mercury retrograde or the shadow period. You might want to wait for that. It's a good time for you to connect with your neighbors in your neighborhood if you haven't spoken with them for a little while. And finally, for Leo, Mercury is going retrograde in your second house, which is about your finances. So your money situation, are you making enough money? Are you having financial problems? Is there something that you could do to improve upon your financial life? These are all things that you need to take a look at. And of course, when Mercury goes into Leo, it's going to go into your first house, your identity. So putting these two things together, is it a new job that would be, or is there a new job out there that would be more suited to you where you could make more money and have more stability in that area? So you may have to review whether a big life change is overdue for your life so that you can have the financial abundance that you deserve. So that is it for Mercury retrograde, guys. Do watch the other video that I made about the Lion's Gate. I'm going to drop it in the link below, so you can watch that afterwards. Thank you for watching. Please share and like if you enjoyed, and I'll be back again soon. That way.